We're going to figure out if my body is inevitably about to break down or if I can just be better at basketball, or you'll just look at this and say I'm perfect. We'll find out. This is me playing one-on-one after having already played for an hour and a half in like a 4-on-4 run. So part of why I included these few shots is just like I'm gassed here, and it's like there's some of these that I feel like I focused a lot on trying to have proper mechanics because I knew I was being recorded for this.
So this is a good shot right here. So you're dribbling, you've got a bent stance, your knees are bent, you're keeping the ball and your body low to the ground, but you can see that your hips are dropped a little bit, and your upper body's starting to round forward. So we've got some fatigue and some weakness in the lower and the mid back, those extensor muscles that help to keep the body upright. If you're starting to hunch over more, you're going to get tightness in the front of the body, which is going to make it harder for you to get yourself back upright. And you're going to be kind of falling forward in your stance. It's going to put a little bit more pressure on the knee. But also when you go up to shoot the basketball, you're going to have a harder time extending your body up and getting some back lean in your shot.
We were talking about this the other week. You mentioned back lean. Is that something that you think is a good fundamentally relevant point for everybody, or is that specifically for me or certain people? Like, what do you mean by that?
So back lean refers to your body. Like if you took a picture of yourself at the apex of your shot, so right as the ball is leaving your fingers, it's important to try to develop the habit, especially when you're young, to lean a little bit away from the basket by arching your body back. And there's actually a good shot of you doing this. So you've got that little bit of arch at the top of your shot, right there. So it's just enough to create more arc for the basketball.
So this is slightly more philosophical, but would you say that there's a strong correlation between good mechanics for basketball success and good mechanics for preventing injury? Because that's not true in every sport, right? Like for baseball, pitching, what might be useful to generate like the high strikeout percentage isn't necessarily useful to preserve your arm.
So that's a lot stronger of a correlation with contact sports.
Okay.
So, in basketball, you have contact, you have people bumping into you, but you have contact that your body's making with the ground. Landing mechanics are huge. So, for instance, if you were to be hunched over forward in this position, and you're trying to catch yourself in a hunched over position, you're going to eventually start putting more pressure on your knees. Let's see if you do it in this video. I think you do actually. So you shoot up, and then you see that right after you step your body back. So you're translating that force. You're changing the direction of that force from staying in your body to now moving your body in a direction. That's a good mechanic, right? We don't want the contact forces to stay in our joints or in our body.
You don't want to land hard on the ground. You kind of want to land like stagger steps so you can kind of brace yourself.
Exactly.
Like the concept of like if you roll as you fall, like you're going to have a softer landing.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So conservation of energy. The energy has to go somewhere. So by incorporating like a lean back into your shot and having good landing mechanics of moving your body after the shot, doing something with that energy, that's going to prevent a lot of like compression injuries and landing injuries, the rolled ankle type things.
So some of this is focusing on body position and like landing position while you're playing. Like some of what gets people injured can be consciously adjusted through like reps in the gym, probably like practices, or if you're playing in just rec leagues like me, you just kind of think about this stuff while you're playing a little bit, like back of your mind. Some of it though probably is strength, like stronger lower back, stronger mid back would just naturally make it easier to do this. Is that also kind of the case?
Yeah. So strengthening those muscles to make them not the weakest link in that chain is going to be important for preventing injury also. Having more muscle in general creates a stronger buffer zone. So muscles absorb forces like contact forces. So having more tissue available means that, your potential time to fatigue increases, your potential absorption of force increases, all that stuff.
Do you think that can like tip over into being a bad thing if the muscles in your body are like not proportional? So let's say you're someone with like a really strong upper body, but your legs are small. For landing, like the weight of your upper body is now like collapsing on your lower body. Is that like, if you're someone in a sport where there's a lot of jumping, you would want more of your weight like below the waist?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And you see that with a lot of basketball players. Very rarely nowadays do you have like a Zach Randolph or an Al Jefferson.
Like really big in the shoulders and chest.
Really
but then
big
kind of
shoulder.
skinny.
Very rarely do you see a basketball player with like an inverted triangle where you have like wide shoulders tapering down to, like, you're not going to see much of a like traditional bodybuilding physique.
So you mentioned at the beginning, like you're coaching basketball also. What's like the one or two things that like the average person should know if like they're playing basketball all the time to like prevent having issues?
Usually it's like a lower body strength issue.
Okay. And that could be from the feet all the way to the hips. Like it doesn't just mean your quads and your glutes.
Yeah. The biggest thing you can do is strengthen really from your feet up into your low back. And the low back is important for stability, stabilizing the spine, and preventing forces from traveling up higher. And pelvic stability also. It's tough to visualize how the pelvis fits into all this, but if your pelvis is off a little bit, that's going to impact the range of motion you have in your legs. And then, over the course of if you're playing for an hour during the day, if you've got a little bit less range of motion, that side is tightening up more. Now you start favoring one leg. Well, if you start favoring one leg, then, the amount of force you're putting on one leg is going to be more than the other. So the deformation is going to be higher on one side, and potential for injury is going to be higher on one side. And this is something that's common with a particular type of professional basketball play style also. People shooting one leg fadeaways, landing on one leg. And if you look at the injury history of those players, you start to see a correlation between, okay, you have a play style that is great for generating results on the basketball court, but if you're not balancing it out in some way, then you're putting all the stress on one side of the body.
The last thing is the muscle that I'm listening for that you didn't say yet. Is it true that like the tibialis, like not to steal from knees over toes guy, but like, is that a specifically important muscle for landing and for basketball in general, or is it just that it's underdeveloped because no one ever thinks to train their shin muscles?
It's typically a muscle that's underdeveloped and underworked. So when you start to put attention towards it, it's very easy to notice that there is a difference because of it. Tibialis strength is important in the loading phase of jumping. Your tibialis helps to receive ground forces. I think just as a whole, that dorsiflexion section of muscles and ankle positioning is really important. And it's important to have a healthy balance between those muscles and your calves.
So yeah, just to like quickly summarize what we're doing here, it's like casual basketball players, what they can kind of do in the gym to give themselves a better chance to perform, but also not get hurt. And then we've mentioned a few examples. This is probably going to be more what we move towards of NBA guys than what we notice in them, just because it's more interesting.
Yep.
Like as much as I like talking about me playing basketball, I'd rather hear about Wembanyama. So this has been helpful for me. Hopefully it's helpful for the people listening.
Yeah.